It's been a while since we've had any new beers from supermarkets, but they're starting now to come on through. And this is one of the first ones that I'm going to try. This is a Brew by Numbers 05. It's an Indian Pale Ale with Citra and Chinook, and it's available in Sainsbury's for £3.20. Does it taste any good though? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. As I said in the introduction, we're going to be reviewing this beer. This is a Brew by Numbers, based down in a place that I used to live actually, down in Rotherhithe in southeast London. It's an Indian Pale Ale. It's got Citra and Chinook in it. Not the most commonly sort of paired hops, but it's 6% and it's available in Sainsbury's. Now, Sainsbury's have got some new beers in, and to be honest, not many of them are that exciting. This is about the only one that sort of really appealed to me. They've got a Berliner, they've got a sour, they've got a stout. It's just not exciting. Sainsbury's are not that exciting when it comes to new beer. And the Alpaca by Salt, which they used to do, they've stopped doing. And that was the best beer you could buy in Sainsbury's. I don't know, their beer buyer is there, but he needs to be got out of that job, and I need to be got in. So, as I said, this is one of the first of the new lot of supermarket beers. Hopefully there's some more coming through in Tesco's. Tesco's have got some of their small cans that are making big cans. We've got some new salt beer that's going to be in Tesco's. A new London brew company, I think, they've got a new beer as well. So I think obviously now we're getting into March and the spring, we're going to see a lot more new beers. I expect Morrison's are going to be following suit as well. So it's an exciting time to be a beer drinker. But I've waffled on enough. Let's get this beer out of the can, see what it's like. So Brew by Numbers, yeah, I think I've had a couple. I don't even know if I've reviewed them on the channel before. They do lots of different types of beer. I know there's been a lot of stuff on social media about their lockdown box, where you can get loads of beers for about, I think something like 24 beers for 70 quid or something like that. Seems really good value for money. The thing is I find with them is that their cans, obviously they all just say Bbno and then a number on them, and they're usually black. So it's difficult to work out whether you've actually tried one over the other, because it's difficult to determine the different artwork. But they do lots of different types of beer, and they do sours and stouts and IPAs and pale ales. This beer though looks, it looks to me quite like obviously it looks like an IPA, even almost a little bit in their sort of New England type of IPA. Chinook is not usually seen that much in New England. It says on the can it's a modern Indian Pale Ale brewed with 2 classic American hops, Citra and Chinook. Naturally hazy beer bursts with flavours of tropical passion fruit, zesty grapefruit and subtle bitterness. I like subtle bitterness. But beer in a glass looks pretty good. Obviously you can see yellowy colour. We've got 2 fingers. It's a pretty white and densely compacted head. Let's get some aromas. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of pineapple in there. Bit of mango and a bit of passion fruit. Yeah, and I can also get a little sort of slight whiff of grapefruit. I think it's going to be pretty solid actually. Let's try it, shall we? Cheers everyone. Yeah, that passion fruit is actually quite strong in the flavour. There was a little bit of pineapple, but the passion fruit almost overwhelmed it. Quite strong on the passion fruit, almost going to a sort of almost zesty orange as well. There is pineapple in there, and then on the back end there's a little bit of grapefruit, but it's quite subtle, I would say. Mouthfeel, I think I was a little disappointed really. It's quite light, but it's quite high in the carbonation. It's quite fizzy, which, I think is a little bit disappointing. It's still, body-wise, it's light to medium. I think the carbonation, though, is very sort of, a little bbit sharp, a little bit sort of, really fizzes the flavours around your mouth quite excessively a little bit. For an IPA, I would say the carbonation is better if it's just dialed back a little bit. This is almost a little bit too much. But, certainly beer in a glass. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it's, you know, okay, I've just poured it out again there, but the head is nice and soft. I think obviously that carbonation is keeping that head intact a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bit cold. Maybe if I sort of, you know, left it out for half an hour, you know, maybe that would die down a bit. It's certainly nice and refreshing. If you like passion fruit flavours, then you'll like this. For me, I like passion fruit dialed back a little bit. I probably want a bit more of the amping up of the sort of pineapple. And I'm not really getting that sort of nice, sharp citrusness of a grapefruit. There's a little bit of lemon in there, but there's not masses of grapefruit on the back end. I've tasted enough though, so let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for the Brew by Numbers 05, and this is an IPA with Citra and Chinook, available from Sainsbury for just £3.20 for a 440ml can. So, what was it like? Well, aroma first. Yeah, I mean, it smelled nice and tropical, pineapple. To be honest, the big sort of aroma in there, similar to the flavour, is this passion fruit that is rising right through. You get these little subtle hints of pineapple and grapefruit, but the passion fruit is just woof, bang, right through it, and it just overwhelms the aroma a little bit. So I'm giving it 12, because I think if that was dialed back and it let the other aromas sing, it would be better. So 12 out of 20 for Aroma Appearance. Well, I think it looks pretty good. It's nice and light and yellow. We've got a nice little, the head was, you know, fairly well retained at the beginning, but you can see the nice lacing of the glass there. I think it looks pretty nice, damn good in a glass, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10. Flavour wise, well, like the aroma, passion fruit is quite big in the flavour. I'm disappointed that the carbonation is a little bit prickly, a little bit too high, I think. And so it does zip those flavours around the mouth, but it doesn't sit nice and soft in the mouth like like good IPAs can do. You get that passion fruit, you get a little bit of grapefruit, a little lemon. There's a tiny bit of pineapple, but the pineapple is almost like fading away. It's almost like as it sort of sits in the glass longer, it becomes passion fruit becomes even more dominant. And there is that sort of zestiness and that sort of subtle bitterness really on the back end, but you know, I wouldn't say there was a lot of bitterness in it. It's kept fairly low. So I'm giving it 31 for flavour. Value for money. Well, obviously this is a Sainsbury's beer, £3.20 for a 440 6% beer. I think that's damn good value for money. So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 for value. And then my overall experience, well, it's nice. It's one of those sort of beers that you could buy, stick in the fridge, and you think, yep, I could do with a beer. What could I have? I have one of those. It's, you know, it doesn't do anything exciting or interesting, but it's a solid beer. There's none of that sort of, you know, sometimes, you know, it doesn't taste, it's got a nice flavour to it. It doesn't taste weak or watered down. I mean, it's a 6% beer, so you would expect that to be like that. The carbonation for me is a little bit too fierce, a bit too prickly, a little bit too zippy around the mouth. I'd like that to be a little bit, to make the beer a little bit softer. But overall, it's a nice, refreshing beer. And I think on a hot day, again, it'd be nice. It has that nice passion fruit running through it. It's zesty. It's a very pleasant. So 13, I'm going to give it for overall experience. So we top those scores up, we get a pretty damn solid 74. I mean, for a beer from Sainsbury's, that's pretty good, because let's face it, Sainsbury's are not great at the beers that they have in there. I don't know if I'm going to even try some of the others, because they just have no real appeal to me. And I'm sure there's other reviewers out there that have reviewed the new Sainsbury's beers, so check them out. I will be getting hold of the new beers available in Tesco's. I do think they're coming out on the 8th of March. Now, I don't know if this video will come out before the 8th of March, but if it does, get yourself down Tesco on the 8th of March and see what new beers they've got. And as I say, keep an eye out on Morrison's. Anyone knows if the Morrison's are going to release any beers, I've got my, I've got my fingers on the pulse, in terms of checking out Instagram and other social media channels to see whether they're going to release new beers. But I think it's obviously the season. I mean, and before you know it, it'll probably have a Lidl beer festival, which will be great as well. So it's a good time to be a craft beer drinker. So cheers, everyone. And until the next review, keep on rocking.